For the first time in the history of the Yank Report, we're about to take the show on the road. We're about to head to Houston for the Houston versus Minnesota United game. Houston just got Hector Herrera, so I think vibes are going to be high in the stadium. And they're playing Minnesota United, who are fresh off of the 4-0 drubbing midweek of Everton. So I think that's going to add a little bit of flavor to the matchup. I've never been to Houston Stadium, so I'm really excited to check that out. We've got some surprises and special guests planned along the way, so I think that's going to be fun for you guys. So strap in, come along. We're about to hit the road. Let's do it. All that and more on this episode of the Yank Report. What's up? I'm Sam. This is the Yank Report, a show about all things American soccer. If you're into that, strap in, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get into this video. So we set off for Texas along I-10. On the way there, we got to drive over one of the sketchiest bridges in the country, over in Lake Charles. But once we get through that, it was pretty much smooth sailing all the way to Texas. Now, the great thing about driving along I-10 over to Texas is you get to stop at America's greatest gas station, Buc-ee's. I mean, if you've never been, this thing is incredible. The biggest gas station you ever seen. There's, tortilla factory. There's all the jerky you could possibly eat, whatever flavor. There's like a complete store with apparel and all kinds of accessories that you can get with the Buc-ee's mascot and the Buc-ee's logo, which people put on everything. Speaking of mascots, they literally have a Buc-ee's mascot walking around the store and people go nuts for it. I, of course, had to pick up their chopped brisket sandwich, which is their signature sandwich. I usually get the turkey, but I got the brisket this time just so you guys can see it because this is what they're known for. We're about to launch into the world famous Buc-ee's chopped brisket sandwich. I don't understand how there would be better road food than this. 9.5 out of 10. It's outstanding. The bathrooms, the experience, it's unbelievable. You gotta come to Texas just for the Buc-ee's. After Buc-ee's, it was time to head to the stadium because I had a tour scheduled with a friend of mine, actually a friend of the channel, somebody that you guys might recognize. We were in Houston at PNC, what is it, Stadium Park?
PNC Stadium. Or just say PNC.
We were in Houston at PNC, the home of the Houston Dynamo. We're about to get a very special private tour, but there is a special guest who's going to be joining us on this tour. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Tactical Manager Filippo Silva. Filippo, you think they're going to let you in this building?
Yeah, they said I was allowed to tell Hector Herrera that 03 is finished, and they actually signed me to replace him. I am the new 10 for the Houston Dynamo. It is official breaking news here at Yank Report. I am the new 10 for him. I'm more of a playmaking 10, very technical on the ball. I don't like to brag about it, but I'm pretty damn good.
Good news for Filippo, bad news for the Houston Dynamo. We'll see you guys inside. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be your #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports development, including this year's basketball championship finals, the NHL hockey conference finals, Major League Baseball, and the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get the bonus and get into the action. Bet online, where the game starts. Arriving at the stadium on game day was really cool. The staff was there getting prepped. We got the opportunity to speak to a couple of people with the Dynamo staff just about the team and what was going on. What we heard from the staff was just the change that occurred whenever the new ownership took over and the new administration came in. The arrival of Ache has just really changed things for the Dynamo. The security is heightened. Just about everything with the team is stepped up with the arrival of Ache and the expectation for more. And I think that's the main thing, is that there's really this sense that, this team can make a push for the playoffs. There's more signings coming in. Now, getting to see the stadium itself at ground level is really awesome. This was my first time walking into the stadium, and I got to walk in just like the players do, which is a really cool experience. I actually didn't realize that the grass was real. The grass is so perfect. I thought it was fake at first. Somebody with the grounds crew actually told me that it's real. It's so perfect that Filippo actually had to get on the ground and inspect it from the closest angle that he possibly could. And I think it passed his inspection. I think it's Tactical Manager approved. Before the tour ended, we got a really special surprise from the Dynamo staff. They gave us personalized jerseys. I got the number 10, even though I am definitely not a 10, and my name on the back. Just a really cool thing. So thank you to Matt Gill for hooking up the tour and the jerseys for us. Matt Gill is a fan of both Filippo and my channels. Really cool to meet him and to do the tour, and just an awesome experience for both of us. Now, game time was upon us. We were walking through the stadium to our seats. Inside the arena looked pretty cool. I've been to a couple of MLS arenas at this point. I've been to Orlando City, Austin FC. I've been to FC Dallas and now Houston. And while I would say Austin FC has the nicest stadium of all of them, I mean, there's just something you can't touch about a view like that. A stadium right in the middle, right in the heart of the city. That really, while you're watching the game, I mean, you're just a part of everything. It's truly remarkable, and definitely worth it to go to a game in PNC and take in that sunset. Now, I was a bit surprised at game time by just how few people were actually in the stadium. I was expecting it to be a lot more people with the arrival of Ache, but I would say it was about at half capacity, even if that. So maybe like 8,000 people in the stadium, something like that.
I'm really surprised at how few people are here. It's like half capacity. And it's weird because this is when Ache's first starts, and every time he touches the ball, people go absolutely nuts. I mean, it's so different whenever he's on the ball compared to everybody else. But as far as the stadium, I mean, the sunset over downtown is pretty beautiful. It's really incredible, like, especially from this side of the stadium, to see the sunset right here. It's a pretty great experience.
Now, in spite of the actual attendance, I do gotta give a shout out to El Battalion and the Surge for really bringing the energy. I mean, they kept the drums going all game. So throughout the match, even though there weren't a tremendous amount of people in the stands, the atmosphere felt really good. It felt like you were at a soccer game. The actual game itself, if I'm honest, was kind of dull. It was one of those games where Houston was able to really dominate possession, dominate the ball in the midfield, get the ball into the final third, but really couldn't do anything after that. Minnesota sat back most of the game, and they had a few counterattacks, and their counterattacks were effective. They got goals. They got 2 goals on counterattacks.
My favorite player on Houston right now is Karaski as a Panamanian. Young player, just always makes himself available, gets all over the pitch. He's a really fun player to watch. Houston just scored to make it 2-1. I was not expecting. Was that Mike Jones, the song that played during the goal?
Timeout, guys. Sidebar for a second here. I mean, I was not expecting Houston's goal song to be a Mike Jones song. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mike Jones or not, but for like in the early 2000s, Houston had this huge rap scene with guys like Mike Jones, and Chameleonaire was probably the most famous of them, but you know, Fat Pat and Big Hawk and Wanna Be a Baller, 25 Lighters. Mike Jones had back then, I mean, Still Tippin', Flossin', all these great Houston rap songs that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of outside of that area of the country. But anyway, just the fact that his song plays during the game is just the coolest thing in the world. And if you have a moment, I'm not going to play the song due to copyrights, but go check out the Mike Jones Houston goal song. I have a feeling it is the best goal song in all of MLS.
Hopefully they tie it up. They got like 10 minutes left. We'll see what they can do.
So the Dynamo did not end up coming back in that game. They fell 2-1 to Minnesota United. Even though it wasn't the most exciting game, it still was a blast to head to Houston to get the tour of the stadium and to actually be there for the game. I think ultimately what I was going to the stadium for was not so much to watch the game, but more to get a sense of kind of what was going on down in Houston ever since the signing of Ache. And I think what we found was that, you know, this Houston has a lot of infrastructure ready for a successful MLS franchise. I mean, pre-game, they've got Pitch 25 right there, and they've got a few other bars that are really like almost soccer-specific bars for the pre-game and the post-game. In the stadium itself, I mean, it's a nice stadium. You've got the backdrop of the skyline of Houston. with the sun setting. It's really nice. Now, I'm hearing from so many fans that they're excited about the new ownership and the new administration and the new optimism that's arrived in Houston ever since that new ownership has taken over. It sounds like they want to make new signings. They are committed to investing in the stadium, and we're going to see some big changes to the stadium. But ultimately, like any other MLS club, it's going to be about how they are able to tell their story to their community, get involved with their community, and also about how they're performing on the field. The arrival of Ache is great. But he's not going to be enough to win games in MLS. He's going to need some more people, especially in the attack, if they're going to take that next step forward in MLS, which I hope they do. Because Houston Dynamo being a successful franchise in MLS would just be a massive boon to the league. It's one of the biggest cities in the country. It's one of the biggest soccer-loving cities in the country. It needs an MLS team that they can be proud of and support and get out there and fill up that stadium. So thank you to everybody that made that experience possible. Thank you to Filippo, who was just in Houston. I reached out to him, asked him if he wanted to go to the game, and he was like, actually, yes, and I have a tour scheduled. Do you want to come on the tour? I was like, yeah, man, that's awesome. So it just kind of worked out serendipitously like that. Thank you to Matt Gill for setting up the tour and for the jerseys. Thank you to the Dynamo staff for being so awesome to us while we were in the stadium. Thank you to Manuel Oliveras, who I met up with at Pitch 25 and at the game. I met one of the guys from Keeping Tabs Pod at the game. I met a couple of other people at the game, so that was a really cool experience connecting with you guys. And ultimately, just being at a soccer game in the United States is great, man. I encourage you, wherever you are, whatever the nearest soccer is to you, go out, check it out, support it, whether it's MLS or USL or whatever it is. Go check it out, go be a part of it, get involved. If you love soccer, if you love watching it, whether you like watching European soccer or whatever else, getting to see it live and in person, it's just a different experience, and it's something you definitely need to check out. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want the Yank Report in podcast form, you can find it anywhere podcasts are podcasted. Si puede hablar español, dígame un comentario en español. Thank you to everyone who has hit the like button, who has hit that subscribe button. If you really want to support the channel, you can become a member. Shout out to all my tier 2 members. Things like this trip are possible because of you guys becoming members, so I really appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Sam, and this is the Yank Report, brought to you by Bet Online.